Well, finally, I got a picture from a different fan, duplicated it, and started sending it out to people. Since that time, I now have about 2,000 pictures, and we can't put them all at the table at the same time. But fans buy them, and I'm happy because we make some bucks.
No, I had, well, my journey is a bit more up, down, up. I came in thinking, I'm gonna be a huge star, right? And then when that didn't happen, my expectations got very low about being recognized in public and all that. And then so I got very happy with that combination. I got very happy with being able to be in huge productions and go to Starbucks and have nobody recognize me. That was a great combo platter. So then coming back up with all the press I've gotten more recently, it's like, oh, well, there it is. At age 58, I did not expect it right now, but yeah, but it's been a fun up and down journey. Yeah.
This is for Doug. Can you ever imagine yourself like being in motion capture, or do you think there's really real value to it as opposed to makeup?
Oh, it's a great question. A lot of people think that I do motion capture now, but Andy Serkis and I do the same thing. We don't. I am an old school rubber wearer, and that didn't sound right. Let me rephrase. And it's a Sunday morning. Okay. I appreciate the old school way of making creatures on film. But I'm not opposed to the idea if a role comes up that's juicy and delicious that I would love to play, and it would be a performance capture scenario. I'm not opposed to it, but I do appreciate the hands-on and the being able to have other actors in the scene with you. They see a creature in front of them. They're not looking at a guy in a green leotard with dots on him and trying to imagine what that might look like in post-production. Yeah, I like the in-your-face thing.
Yeah.
Hello. First, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And I know that not only does it mean so much to me to see you guys here, it means so much to everybody in this room. So thank you for the work that you've done. My question is, I'm someone who's interested in getting into film, into acting, writing, directing. I love the process. What advice would you have for people like me who are interested in getting involved, whatever way that might be?
I'd say just don't give up. That's the best solution. They'll turn you down, come back, try again. And if you don't give up, you'll make it one day.
Thank you.
In any of the arts, there's a lot of competition for very few slots, right? So do it because you love it, not because you want to get rich or famous from it. That's the best advice anybody can give you. I notice you're wearing me on your T-shirt there. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very sweet. But also, on a practical note too, you already have your head shaved. That's awesome. You can glue things on you much easier. Be in the best physical shape you can. Work all your angles. Know your body from head to toe, and also get to know creature effects makeup people. Now, I started as an actor, not knowing that was a career option. I was pursuing TV commercials and sitcoms and that kind of thing as a human actor, and got sidebarred with a mime background and a contortionist background, being able to be flexible and communicate silently. My agent started submitting me for anything that was makeup or suit involved. And that's how I kind of got into it by accident. And then the creature effects people are the ones who glommed onto me because I'm tall, skinny, small boned. They can build on me without getting too bulky. And before long, I was getting referred within the creature effects makeup community. So knowing those people and showing up at conventions like Monsterpalooza out in LA or whatever, and getting to know that crowd of people, that's the practical, more sensible way than going through casting directors and agents. They don't know what to do with us exactly just yet.
Thank you.
Sure.
I was going to say, yeah. One thing, and kind of to piggyback a bit off that as well, is for me, I mean, depending, I know you said like acting, directing, just to get into the industry, and it kind of goes off that, but like, I consider my body my instrument, and I know how to play it very well for whatever is required. So, and I know what my specialties are, and I keep them strong. Like, I'm a ballet dancer, I will always have that. I speak another language, I speak that only at home so that I don't lose it. I'm really good with accents, like I know, but I know that I'm not a tennis player, and I know that that's a tool that is not sharp. So we think, especially as actors, it's like, okay, I'm gonna learn everything under the sun, and I'll just like market everything. I'm like, well, know what to market, and know what your special skills are, you know what I mean? And keep them sharp, and also train. Like for me, I never stop training. I'm always in a studio, whether it's in whatever capacity, or whether it's getting people together and like reading a script or reading a play and create. I mean, the hardest part I think about any art and acting, for example, is my least favorite feeling is waiting for the phone to ring. I don't believe in it. I really don't. It's like write, create, watch. I mean, there's so much out there to keep you motivated and keep the craft going. It's hard where it's like, you know, 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 9 weeks, and like your agent's not calling, and suddenly you're like, what am I doing? And to keep the resilience of everybody's gonna say no. You're gonna hear so many no's in your career, but you have to know what you want. You have to know what you're going for, and you always have to see it every single day. You're like, no, I'm gonna get there. Okay, they said no, great. What's the next avenue? Great, I'm gonna get there. But you have to keep moving, because it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the waitressing jobs and the side jobs and being like, well, this is a bit more consistent, but you have to know, you really have to know what you want to do, and you just have to keep going. And everybody's going to say no along the way, but if you know that it's a yes, it will happen, 100%.
Thank you so much.
First, I want to say what a pleasure it is to have you guys here today. This is awesome. I've been a Creature Monster fan for since I was like 2, so it's pretty awesome. And I always thought, oh, the heroes, they look kind of boring. You always make monsters look pretty cool. But my question for you, for each of you, is what is the craziest on-set story you have?
I guess mine would be, and I may have said this before, I don't remember. We were shooting in the wintertime. The water temperature was 71, the air temperature was 49. So I'd go down in the water, do a scene or whatever, come back up to rehearse the next scene on deck. And we had a big barge. And I'd take the head off, and I would sit there and wait to rehearse the next scene. And the crew felt sorry for me because I was shivering. And one came up and gave me a little shot of brandy. Well, the other crew members didn't know that the other crew member gave me a shot of brandy. So after about 5 or 6 shots of brandy, they had a drunk creature. Thank you.
That's awesome. No one ever offered me alcohol, but I'm often blind in my characters I play, the creatures. I'm often looking through, a peephole in some kind of a mask. And on Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, as Abe Sapien, we are Hellboy and Abe have gotten a little tipsy on some Tecate beer after singing some Barry Manilow tunes, and then we end up we're in his private chambers with and Liz Sherman, played by Selma Blair, is asleep on the bed, and so we're kind of talking like this, a little bit drunk in the scene, and the alarms go off, and I'm supposed to react to that because we're harboring we have the princess Nuala, the elf princess, in our custody. We're in safe harbor with us, and knowing that the alarms are going off in the BPRD facility, something's in danger, and I sense that it's the princess. So I'm supposed to go around the edge of the bed and look up at the alarms and go, the princess. Well, I can see this much. So when I'm looking up, I can't see where I gotta have no peripheral vision at all. So on take 1, I go through they had to put a sandbag on the floor so I could feel my stopping mark. Often they put a piece of tape on the floor so we can kind of see it out of our peripheral vision and know where I'm going to stop for the camera to catch our final moment. Well, they had to put a sandbag there so I could feel it instead. So I'm walking around the bed and I hit my sandbag. This is take 1. And I hit my sandbag, and I was like, gosh, that felt early. I don't think I'm in the right spot yet. Well, but I stopped, and I said, the princess. And then I started kicking my foot around, going, the sandbag's gone. Oh, I'm not in the right spot. And this is all happening really fast. and then all of a sudden, Guillermo yells, cut! And the whole crew burst into laughter. And I said, where was that my sandbag? Where did it go? Selma Blair is back there on the bed. She says, nope, that was actually one of Hellboy's cats. He kicked across the floor.
I don't know if it's like the craziest experience, but it's probably one of my favorites from season 1, and that's, I'm gonna again talk about Doug Jones because he's the best. But Doug loves to sing. I don't know if you know this, and he has a fantastic voice. I mean, we all talk about how one day he's gonna have his own show in Vegas, and he's not gonna be in makeup, and he's just gonna get to sing, and we're all gonna be like his backup dancers. But I remember, I forget what song we were singing, but it was probably also like hour 12 at this point, and so when it's hour 12, you start to get a little loopy, and I turn around, and suddenly Doug, sitting in the captain's chair as Saru, with his like legs up, and he's just like bursting into song, and then all of us just burst into song, and we're all just like dancing around the bridge, and like, I don't even remember what song, we do it so often. But yeah, it's honestly just turning around and seeing Saru just like with those shoes on, and he's just like, it was great, yeah, it was great.
I was in Albany, New York recently for a trek con, and they were doing a preview of Star Command, I believe it is, where you are with Robert Picardo.
Space Command,
Space
yes.
Command, yes. Do you know when that is going to be coming out, or any more about it? Can you tell us?
I don't. It's been years. I have no idea. Yeah, it started a while back with a Kickstarter campaign, actually. But Mark Zicree he was a writer on Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and so he's got a Star Trek background, and he wanted to create another space show of his own. That's called Space Command, and so it's post-production is there's so many digital effects that have to be put into it, so that their post-production budget ran out, and they had to refund and regroup. So I think what you saw was the first. They had like the first half hour of it. Yeah, the first half hour of it done. So it looks great so far, I think. But who knows if we'll ever see the finished product? I do hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
You're all looking at me. So you're awesome. Saru is awesome. And I wanted to ask, well, I love Ricou Martin Green, and she's amazing. And so, any fun stories about working with her? What is she like? And
Yeah, she's the best. I'm so grateful to be on the show, but also because I've learned what it's like to be the lead, to be a really good lead of a show. You know what I mean? Like, just to be that person. I mean, she's so supportive and she's so wonderful. And before every first take of the day, she'll literally go around and like fist pump everybody, like everybody, background, everybody. I mean, crew, everybody. She's so wonderful. I mean, I'm sure there's like a million stories. I can't think of anyone in particular except that one, but she's just an angel, truly. She really is.
For those who didn't hear in the back, Ricou Martin Green, the lead character of Star Trek Discovery, asking what she's like, as the #1 actor on the call sheet, she is the most gracious and group activity person I've ever worked with. She really is has become a matriarchal figure for all of us, even though I'm old enough to be her dad. But she does take the lead in all kinds of ways. She keeps the morale up. And our show's been through some behind the scenes turmoil here and there, but the creativity of the show has never gone south. It's all stayed up, and our on-set antics and happy is largely because of her. So thanks for asking.
Hi, my name is Michael. Doug, I have a question for you. I'm a longtime Buffy fan. And I think if you ask any Buffy fan what the creepiest bad guy from that show was. The gentlemen are either number 1 or 2 on that list. Can you tell us something about being one of TV's creepiest effing things?
Thank you, that's very sweet of you. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it was the Hush episode. I played the lead gentleman in that episode, the smiley guys who didn't speak and stole the voices of everyone in Sunnydale. So we could cut their hearts out and collect them and go home. Well, my plan was thwarted by Buffy, bless her heart. But no, Joss Whedon wrote and directed that episode himself, and that was a rarity because as the showrunner, you don't often do both of those things. So we knew it was special, and doing an episode of a TV show where over half of it is done in complete silence. So vocal dialogue was taken away. The network was like, oh, we don't think that's a good idea, and Joss really pushed for it. They thought that if you don't stimulate everyone's senses, like visual and sound at all, then you're going to lose them, they're going to flip channels. They were worried about ratings. Where the opposite took place. You take the voices away, everyone kind of leans in because they don't want to miss a moment. And it totally worked. But I never expected that guest starring on one episode of a TV show would have this much of an afterlife to it. The Buffy fans, bless your hearts, have never weakened their love for that show. Yeah, it goes on and on. So when you see an action figure, I've had several action figures over the years, but when I saw the Buffy gentleman, in a store behind plastic, I was thinking, well, I guest starred on one episode, and then here we are. So thank you for keeping that alive. Yeah.
First off, guys, thank you for coming to Michigan. My name is Devin, and I have a question for Doug. So, I know you best as the Fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, and that is, from what I've seen, a very elaborate costume. So, I'm just curious, what do you think was the most interesting facet as far as wearing the costume?
In Pan's Labyrinth, the Fawn costume, wearing it, what was the most interesting facet of it? There was so much. It was a 5-hour makeup and costume application. So again, part suit, part makeup. Part of it was glued to me, part of it was zipped up the back in pieces. I was also up on stilts, which made me 7 feet tall. Combined the stilts with my horns, and I was a tall monster, working with an 11-year-old girl who was 4-something. So I had to squat a lot. I thought this is going to be a framing issue when the two of us are in a scene together, and all my scenes were with her. So, Boogie, can you squat some more? Oh, crap. So my thighs took a beating on that. But it was, again, I had to channel some he's a combination of goat, tree, and human, right? So there's a goat man tree thing. So again, I had to pull elements of all of it. And I was aging backwards because when you first saw me, I was older and more infirmed and grayer in color. One of my horns was eaten off, and by the end of every scene you see me, I'm getting younger and more fluid and more younger as we go until the end where I've got auburn hair, clear eyes, and I'm fully functional. So there was a whole reason for that. That was another Del Toro mark of he loves his creatures so much, and he put so much of meaning into this character. So I was carrying a lot of burden, and all my dialogue was in Spanish. So my body and brain were working overtime every day on that. That was probably the toughest thing I've ever done, was the Fawn from Pan's Labyrinth. So I'm glad that you singled that out because I'm very proud of them. When I wrapped that movie and was done with it, I was like, oh my gosh, we pulled it off. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it really panned out.
Thank you.
We do got time for one more. I apologize for the people in line. I'm sorry. It's not my rules.
Hi, my name is Donald, and I have a question for you. Several roles in the movies, like Peter Waller's RoboCop, the costume didn't fit right, so it affected how he moved. And you had Heath Ledger as the Joker. He licked his lips at a certain time because the makeup on his lips always came off. Was there a restriction in your costumes that put a kick or some sort of movement that got incorporated to the acting that was recognized? And this is for all of you.
Question was, was there anything that he was saying, examples of RoboCop and the Joker as the Heath Ledger, where something in the costume or makeup affected how they moved, or because of something, the way something fit, that might change your physical. Oh yeah. So was there anything in anything you've done?
Well, my eyesight was very poor. The reason being, I was going to wear a face mask under the hood, and it stuck out too far, so we didn't do that. I went to goggles, but when the goggles filled with water, I had no way to get the water out. So I went with the naked eye. And the eye of the suit was about inch and a half away from my eye. And I was not wearing any glasses or anything. My vision was very blurred. And I could see, like this lady sitting here, I could see it was a human being, but I wouldn't know who it is. And so when I go into the scene, I have to know which one to go after. Or whatever. But anyway, that's how it worked.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, so far it's only been the one area. But, I mean, I don't know if it's a tick, but like the piece, like the cowl comes all the way down to here. And so obviously you just see the face because of the Starfleet outfit. But I literally, I mean, like to move my actual head, just the head, is not really a thing. Like that's why it's mainly the whole upper body that kind of goes. But when it comes to like restrictions or things like that, yeah, like when I'm doing Arium, it's a liquid diet only for the most part because they're not my lips. So little things like that, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure you've had all of those restrictions and more. But yeah, so like, yeah.
Yeah. The suit or makeup will often inform how one moves in it because of restrictions or even enhancements. Finger extensions are a great way to enhance. Your hand was do so much more when your fingers are much longer. As the fawn from Pan's Labyrinth, I had those ram horns on my head, which made a tilt of the head way more dramatic because I was so wide. And as Saru on Star Trek Discovery, I'm up in hoof boots. I'm walking on my tiptoes all day long. So I'm in like a high-heeled shoe without a heel under it, right? So it's like an animal hoof with a Starfleet boot over it. So that was one of the most transformative things that it was given to me. When I was in my first costume fitting and put those boots on for the first time, trying to find my balance in them was like, whoa, wow. It threw my hips a little bit forward and my arms draped a little bit behind. So the way Saru walks, if you see me walking down a corridor in the starship, my arms kind of swinging behind me this way. That's because of those boots, flowing my pelvis a bit forward, and it became easier. So it's like, it looked different than anything else I'd ever played before. So it was like that was a win-win as far as like how a suit informs how you move.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Make sure to come see them at your booth. I apologize for confusing more questions, but give it up for these guys right here. Star Trek Discovery Season 1 comes out on DVD Tuesday, and Season 2 premieres in January.